Tasmat. The last we did was the 41st verse. We were doing that. Tasmat means therefore. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadav niyamya bharatarshava. So he is concluding his remarks, his comments on his sermon on desire. Controlling first the senses. Papmanam prajahihyenam. Kill this sinful destroyer of jnanam and vijnanam. Jnana vijnana nashanam. So the desire is the destroyer of knowledge and wisdom. So powerful that seemingly innocuous desire can be. That's what we got to understand. What we got to be mindful of the potential force that is hidden in the desire. The potential a desire can do to you. Exactly like, what is the difference between, I have mentioned it, what is the difference between an evening breeze? You go out into your balcony and you experience a beautiful breeze hitting your face, you're half lying, you feel refreshing, vis-a-vis a hurricane or a tornado. What's the difference? It's the same breeze. Sorry? Not just hit your face, it will rip up buildings. Cities are devastated when a hurricane or a tornado passes by. But what the difference is, the difference in momentum, that's about all. It's the same breeze. When it gathers a momentum, it causes considerable damage and destruction and devastation. It will take a long while for the damage to be rebuilt. Exactly the same thing. The difference between a desire is like a passing breeze. But when the desire goes out of control, it can have the potential damage of a tornado or a hurricane or a tsunami. It can just rip through your life, it can completely destroy you. And you do not know when that's going to happen, and when it happens, you are completely lost, you have no control. That is what he means, that desire is the sinful enemy. It destroys all the knowledge you have acquired and also the wisdom you have gathered. Beware. You got to be extremely careful when this desire develops into a momentum and goes out of control. And the constant price we pay for acting on desire, we are all having desires, like it or not, you invariably keep acting on them. And what is the price we keep paying for having acted on them? What is the price we pay for having been prompted by them? In effect, I am saying desire-ridden actions. Agitation, I didn't qualify the desire there. But you are saying if it is unfulfilled, but let us say desire is met. You are talking about the modifications, the various emotions that crop up. Fair enough, you are not wrong at all. What else is that common factor rather that seems to carry on whenever you act on a desire? Going in lines with what Siddharamanji said, he mentioned about agitation, mental agitations. Sorry, sir? How do you say restlessness? For example, you have a desire or craving for something and you got what you desired. How would you attribute restlessness to a fulfillment of a desire? I am trying to understand your answer. I am not saying you are wrong, but I am only trying to understand how would you fit restlessness for a satisfaction of a desire. If your desire is unfulfilled, you are restless, understandable. But when you got what you desired, how would there be restlessness? That may not, only fits in when, as I said, when desire is unfulfilled. But I am not qualifying whether a desire is fulfilled or unfulfilled. I am only saying when your actions are prompted by a desire, you seem to experience something constantly, a common factor. Sorry? Greed? No, again that only happens only when it is fed. Simple as that. Huh? Why complicated? One breeze to tornado, another desire. Okay. Again you are qualifying it whether fulfilled, unfulfilled. But I am just saying, just no need to go into the further modifications. Just by acting on desire, instantly there is a repercussion. Attachment. Again, attachment is to only fulfill the desire. In fact, you attach to the object of your desire. If you worked hard for something and you have got a reward, you attach to the fruit. You have got name, recognition, you attach to the name, recognition. You see that? That is attachment to the fruits of your actions. In fact, we remember mentioning that whenever you mention a word desire, understand it is selfish. Adha synonym philosophically, desire means, Patel ji, swarth. Atma karanat, mere liye kaam kar raha hu. So whenever you act for Atma Karanat, your thinking was right. There is a mental agitation. This is a thumb rule. You can't escape from this. Now, in fact, we all are not wrong, but I am just taking the lead from where I left last week. So you can excuse yourself there, those who were missing. That which keeps your company is guilt. Whenever you chase a desire, you will feel guilty. You got to rationalize that aspect and then come to terms with it. What is mental agitation? And agitation is a remorse, is a sin. Is a feeling of guilt that you have gone wrong somewhere. Even when you have fallen a prey to a temptation, you have gone behind satisfying your senses. Isn't that a guilt feeling? I know I shouldn't have been fallen a prey to the senses. Guilt. Qualify that, please. Now, I hope you all heard what he said. You could hear what he said? A desire to uplift yourself spiritually. you want to be a part of this satsang. Would you qualify that as a selfish desire, as an Atma Karanat? No. If you go along with the way we have qualified a desire, we always maintain, the Shastras maintain, desire has a selfish connotation. I'm just sticking to the technical terms, what they convey. But the moment your actions are driven with an ideal, with a larger purpose for self-purification, self-transformation, for self-evolution, your actions of sacrificial nature are driven by an intellect, vis-a-vis driven on the mind. It's completely different, something else is prompting you to action, so you wouldn't feel the guilt factor there. Desire means selfish. If it is not selfish, it is not a desire, it is a goal or an ideal. You can call it an ambition. No, not again passion. Passion again, I am very passionate for what I am doing. A youngster also is very passionate running behind his desires. Passion again is desire. Another form of desire is passion, ambition. It has an unselfish connotation. Now referring back to the quote I left you all last week, and perhaps it needed a reminder, I am referring to that. The quote we mentioned was, guilt is the price we pay willingly. Did you write, Shiva? Guilt is the price we pay willingly for doing what we are going to do anyway. ఏమో అర్థమవుతుందా? నీ పేరేంటి? స్వాతి, అర్థమవుతుందా? Guilt is the price we pay willingly for doing what we are going to do anyway. Means you are anyway going to go with what your desire is going to draw you to do it. Means you already fallen a prey to your temptation, it's a weakness, you are not going to put any effort to overcome it. So what is going to be the common factor? You are willingly going to pay the price of guilt because you are not wanting to conquer your own desire, your own lower temptations, your own weaknesses. You don't want to conquer them. You have accepted that you have fallen a prey to it. You have given up. So what comes along with it is a price you willingly pay as guilt. That's the reason I said you act on desire, that which will accompany you is your own guilt. So you got to deal with it. So either you are comfortable with guilt or you want to grow out of it and find peace and happiness within. It's something you got to resolve it with yourself. I know I am doing the wrong thing, but I continue keeping doing the wrong thing. I am very happy to pay the price of guilt. I don't think you must say the word happy, but you just don't mind paying the price of guilt because you don't seem to have any choice. So you keep continuing to do the wrong thing which you know is wrong, and you keep paying the price of guilt. You're just caught up in it's a vicious loop. You just go on and on. You can't get out of it unless until something pulls you out of it. You're inspired, you're motivated, you want to do, enough is enough. I can't carry on like this. Because I'm sure guilty feeling is not a comfortable feeling, isn't it? Constantly. And the worst of it is, it's only you that feel it, not anybody else. And nobody else knows about it. And that's the worst part. So what it tantamounts to? Sarishji, I feel a guilt, I know I'm doing wrong, none of you know that I'm doing something wrong. Then what is that? What the tantamounts to? The suffering is me, myself, I understand that, but what does it tantamount to? Something more unacceptable. See, we are quite comfortable with guilt. I am saying you should not be comfortable with guilt. It is not the right thing. But you carry on that, you are actually portraying something other than what you are. That is what guilt does to you. A double standard. You don't portray your guilt to the world, do you? You just cover it up deep within your bosom. You don't reveal it to the world. So, and yet you put on an act of something other than what you are. That is hypocrisy. That is what I was looking at. That is deadly. Hypocrite, I can't digest what that is. Ooh. Is it, Tata? How can you be hypocrite? Illingla? Just be whatever it is, even if you are what few ounces, be true to yourself. You don't have to put on an act as if you have a few dollars, just a few cents, a few ounces, never mind, let me be true to myself. I am what I am. I don't have to portray myself other than what I am. And that, to hold on to that life day in and day out, I can't digest that life. Therefore he says, you got to kill this sinful destroyer of your knowledge and wisdom. You really want to catch the bull by the horns, get to this verse. These are the verses which really tells you, you want to be a master of yourself, or you truly want to be a human. You truly want to find that peace, that contentment, that happiness. These are the straightforward verses that really tests you. These are the litmus test of spirituality, nothing more than that. It does not matter what you do, it really does not matter. End of the day boils down to whether is there guilt in your bosom, that is about all. If there is, you have fallen a prey to your desire. Yes sir? Get out of it. You have got to get out of it. Sorry? Especially when the guilt or this desire overpass your knowledge and wisdom. See, why does he segregate jnanam and vijnanam? Yes sir, difference theriyuma? Knowledge and jnanam, vijnanam, difference theriyuma sir? Enna sir, solungo? What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Repeat பண்ணுங்க sir, they can't hear you clearly. Okay. Wisdom is the outcome of the knowledge, what we do with the knowledge. Right, you're right. So knowledge is a thorough information about something. You're well informed. You have nariya information. I know about it. Wisdom is you what speaks of it through your actions. Sorry sir? That's when you are able to apply it, when you are able to live it, that is wisdom. Now he says this desire, sir, the desire clouds your theoretical knowledge and practical wisdom. Man, if it just clouds your theoretical knowledge, understandable, even the wisdom you have gathered gone for a 6. What chance do you have sir? Yes sir. And we are fully infested with desires. We don't understand the seriousness. In fact, if there is one thing that destroys your spiritual sadhana is desire. You narrow it down to one thing that destroys your human spiritual growth is desire. Nothing else, there is nothing else. Everything else springs from this desire. I can't understand how we can be comfortable with it. I am just trying to, create that sense of when you talk of an enemy, how must you be very conscious, very, very alert. It's a sinful destroyer. Chappan sir, sorry.
Maybe that is what he wanted to convey when you want to get out of that guilt and understand yourself. Correct me if I'm wrong. About the restlessness that you have when you get agitated, and then you want to connect yourself to something. That's one answer. The second one, knowledge and wisdom. I just wanted to say, would I be correct in saying, taking out the context from the content? Wisdom is the context, and content is knowledge that we have.
Yeah.
The context is what we take out of it and use it.
Very well said, correct. Very beautifully said. Wisdom is the context, its applicability, in which situation, how you relate to a situation, and the content is a reference manual you fall back on. That is the knowledge. You're right. Your understanding is perfect, sir. So knowledge and wisdom. Therefore, now what's the solution for it? Okay, if this is the scenario, what is the path? What is the approach you take? What is the solution?
Every time a desire arises, kill it.
ஒரு AK-47 எடுக்கிறோமா, பட்ட 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 ஷூட் பண்ணிடலாம். She is literally gone to the spirit of Krishna. She is saying, just kill it. All that easy. Simply kill that fellow. She is just being very poetic, but in fact the solution is given in the very verse itself. How do you go about killing this sinful destroyer? He says, control the senses first, he says. That is the key. That is how you would end up ultimately getting over the desire. Control the senses first, he says. How do you connect? See, no, not really. It's precise logic. I am helping you all to think along, that's about all. I am a moderator in this classroom. If I do that, I'll do my job well, rather than telling you all what it is. But if I am able to think along with you and make you all think along with what the text is communicating, that's what my job is. So the next natural question is, how would control of senses would ultimately help me in getting overpower my own desire? So what's the connection? Exactly, that's the question. You're putting the question in a statement form and thinking you're answering. Adha you have done, that's all. But explain yourself. How would control of senses help me in controlling the desire? Yeah, Manish.
One step behind, if I have a desire to spiritually uplift myself and others, is there a differentiation between good desire and a bad desire?
You come 20 minutes late. It's already been clarified. You miss the flight, catch the next flight. No pilot is going to take a U-turn, come back. Yes, sir. எப்படி சொல்றீங்க? We just mentioned that desire always means, has a self-centered connotation vis-a-vis anything directed towards your self-purification, self-evolution or self-realization is not a desire. we've used the words aim or ambition or a purpose. So you want to get rid of your desires is a very lofty purpose, a very lofty goal. You see that? You can't say my goal is to buy a Ferrari. You can't use the word goal and Ferrari in the same breath. You see that? You can have a desire to buy a Ferrari. You may have to work rest of your life. If you are an average person, you'll have to fork out 5-6 crores to buy a Ferrari. If that's what your desire is, okay, go. You keep plowing, chasing, saving, and one day you will fulfill your desire. That is different to I want to realize myself. I want to purify myself. I want to become as sattvic as possible. They can't be held in the same breath of any chasing any objective desires, any worldly desires. They can't be held in the same breath. So naturally, when the desires are elevated to a larger purpose, it loses its sting of selfishness. It drops away. So that's the difference you got to create. There was a question, Lilia. Ada, something, some void was within me. Something was pending.
Controlling the senses, maybe we abstain from the acting work and so slowly takes time to.
Why are you stopping sentence in between?
Slowly the desire gets killed by abstaining from acting. So controlling the senses is we act through senses. So by controlling the senses, we abstain from acting.
Convinced, huh? So you got to convince them, not me. There already somebody is sitting on my head. Please clarify. So you got to appease Sitaraman sir here. Yes, sir. Correct, huh?
My thought was the same, but if you stop something, you stop the senses from doing something, or making it done, right? Everybody's fond of speech, so much. So when you have the speech, you know that it's not good for you, etc. So you can control your senses, but say, okay, fine, it's lying there, but I'm not going to catch it. Okay, so I'm going to abstain from it. But my desire to have it is still there. It is not gone. So by just stopping or abstaining from the action has not stopped my desire. It still leads to that education because it remains in that. So that's why I'm not able to stop my speech. So by controlling senses, how I stop my desire. When desire is still there, action has been stopped. I control my senses, whatever effort. But it's not stopped my desire. I'm not sure.
No, you're very correct in your rationale. Your thinking is right, but the answer you have given is only half of the answer which is spelled out in verse 43, which is just a couple of verses. We'll certainly get to it today. We'll finish it. But what you're saying is only one half of the spiritual practice. So the other half you have to then you find it's a wholesome thing. Now, see, if you don't control the senses and let your senses run wild amid sense objects, those stimuli will only trigger the latent desire within you, isn't it? Isn't it? Like I did mention last week, you can't expect a person to control his desire for alcohol in a pub. Impossible. Or you can't tell a person to refrain from eating sweets when he is in a sweet shop, or he is in a marriage function where there is a beautiful spread of lovely sweets, nice selected, the best of the sweet desire, ரொம்ப sweet desire. How can you say no to the sweet desire? Nice cute desire I have for sweet. Correct, Swati? Swati dana? So you have the desire for sweet, how can you say no to it? So chalo yaar. It's difficult to control. Now, but if you are able to practice this withdrawal from the stimuli, the desire may be latent in you, but you are not arousing the desire. The desire is very much there, but there is nothing there to trigger the desire. Now, until I mention the word sweets, did you all ever think of sweet now? Maybe having mentioned the sweet, having mentioned the marriage, the next thought went is, oh, other day I went for a marriage, I had nicely a few more sweets, I wish I could have had that also.
And they are going for a marriage.
So the thought starts connecting. But when you don't have the sense object, what happens? The desires remain latent, dormant, hidden. Now let's not, I would leave it halfway here, be patient. I can't get to the other half because then I will be getting to verse 43. Now what I would certainly answer the question, this does not answer the question, it is only giving a solution which is there in 43, but how does sense control help in controlling the desire ultimately is by controlling the senses you are creating satsang. What is satsang? Sat means good, sang means company. So, by controlling the senses and feeding into my desires, I am choosing an environment which is conducive for my own spiritual development. On the contrary, you would agree with me that giving an environment what my desire wants is dussang, is not necessarily the right company if I want to achieve a mastery over my desires. It is not going to help me. If I am leading a licentious life and I am all the time indulging in the world, giving a license to my senses, is it going to help me control my desires or punctuate my mind's excitement? No, it wouldn't, isn't it? So how what do you do? Live a life of withdrawal, which is nothing but satsang. In fact, Haji.
No, I was just thinking that I don't know whether it's right to put it across a different way of looking at it, just purely philosophically, is that desire, guilt, all this, the base of all this, the base concept in all this is a comparison. There is only a desire when you compare a state with a state which could be. There is only a guilt when you compare a state or whatever. There is always a comparison. And the moment you control senses, you are more at peace with what is yourself, and therefore there is less comparison. So you are removing.
Comparison with whom? With what?
With anything. It could be with a state which you would like to be versus what you are. It could be with, if it's a desire for happiness, it's a comparison with your present state and what you consider a more happy state or a different state. So there is a comparison and a movement which is the essence of all